I've been using two different kinds of hats, but these are my favorite hats. They are um, they're like an energy or dark energy on top and an energy on the bottom. And what I noticed with this is that they give you a very dark sound, but it still cuts. It reminds me of some of the recordings that I used to listen to of Steve Jordan, right? And he was in a band called Eyewitness. And I always wanted to get that sound. And sure enough, these came on the market. I'm not sure when, but maybe, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, and I jumped on them because they fulfill that sonic thing I had in my head. And they're really great when you play open strokes with your hand, or your foot with your hand, you know, stuff like that, without it becoming overbearing. That's the thing I like about them. So I really enjoy these hats. They're big enough so that they have weight and meat, so that you can play, you know, very heavy music with them. And surprise, surprise, they do great in a light situation as well. So it's beautiful. I really got into contact cymbals for a while. I was more into darker cymbals, like energy cymbals, but I started getting into contact lately because I just wanted something that would really cut through without having to bash real hard. And there's a lightness to them, you know, because they're on the bright side. There's a lightness to them that I think suit my sensibility of how I play cymbals more than the darker ones. Although the dark cymbals are beautiful, they're very rich, a lot of tone to them. But I wanted something that would just slice through the melee, you know? And when you ride on them, they still feel good, even though it's a crash cymbal. I put the china like this on top of it so that sometimes I surprise myself. I don't know what sound I'm going to get. So when my left side goes through that part of the setup, it may be a crash, it may be the china, but the china is cool in that it's not like a large, you know, 16 or 18 inch or bigger where you get that, you know, really huge washy cymbal sound. This one cuts and still maintains that china sound. So often I'll actually write on it as well, like as if it was a bigger one, you know. And it feels really good, and it's right in my line, so I don't have to reach over here or reach over there. You know, it's really easy to get to, so I just piggyback it on top like this, and it really feels good. So this is like a very high oriented, the sounds are high on this part of the setup. Have this little 8 energy up here, which is unlike a lot of 8s that I've heard. It's almost more like a bell to me rather than a little splash cymbal. And that's how I treat it. Plus I think inverting it like that gives it more of that character, more of a bell. Again, sometimes when I go for this part of the setup, I'm not sure what I'm going to hit. So that's a good thing. You know, surprise, or I'll actually aim for it. I'll actually play it as part of what I'm trying to do. Underneath it is, this is a 10 inch. I think it's a 10 inch actually.
12.
No, it's a 12. I lie. It's a 12. Yes, 10 would be like this. It's right, it's right. It is 12. And of course I use it more like a crash.
12 is contact, yeah?
Yeah, it's a contact as well, yeah. Again, it's bright and it's more like a crash cymbal. On to my favorite, my absolute favorite. These stack cymbals are incredible in that, again, I can be surprised by what happens over here. I was playing a gig the other day, actually a few months ago, and it was a very soft piece of music, you know, very gentle. And I wanted to play a crash, something like very, very soft. I went. Now on the gig, I was like, oh, I really wanted a cymbal sound. When I heard the recording back, I was like, wow, yes, so now I'm not afraid to play it in the softest of music, even though because it's dark, and it's actually a soft sound. This bad boy, I learned a little bit about this today. So I was in here doing some business with Dean, actually. And of course, while he's tapping away his computer, I'm walking around irresistibly tapping the cymbals, because you've got to do that. And I hit this one. I was like, Dean, come here. It was one of those. Come here for a sec. And I learned just today from Andy that this was one of the first cymbals out. And it's a real catch. There's not many of them out. I didn't realize what I stumbled onto, you know. And I use it so often. In fact, again, I was on that same gig that I was talking about with this. And the reason why this gig was unique is that it was in a very small place, right. And very intimate. You know, the people were literally 10 feet away from me. And I meant to bring this cymbal, which I also use a lot, which is a dark matter energy, which I love, 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 because it's completely versatile. You can play any style of music literally with this. If you play it real hard, it's real dark like that, so you can crash on it, and it's in and out, it's out of the way. And the ride sound, again, you can play this in a variety of styles, you know, swing, whatever. It's really a great cymbal. I meant to bring this and forgot it. Instead, I had this cymbal in the bag, and I'd only been playing it in straight ahead jazz up to that point. And I was kind of worried because the gig was more of a fusion thing. And I was so happy to have it because it works perfectly. Great bell, really warm, really funky. That's what Andy was saying, because it's hard to get that funk. There's so much going on in it, right? And then that, you get that. Then on this side, a trusty contact, 16-inch, right. Very bright. Again, it cuts. Yeah. It just slices through. You don't have to bash these cymbals. That's the great thing.